Welcome to the Improve and Have Fun podcast, Season 3. My name is Paul V. Perez, and on this podcast, I work on improving myself while having fun along the way with the hopes of encouraging you to do the same. And I do so by documenting my life and interests. Happy New Year. We've survived another year, thank goodness. This episode is an annual episode I do where I discuss my 2019 goals and how I did on those goals. And if you have your list of goals from 2019 from January or even maybe December 2018 when maybe you wrote those goals up, let's go through them together here and let's see how we did. Getting right into it, I had 8 goals. I scratched one out and it ended up becoming 7 goals. I want to go ahead and start from the bottom up. Number 8 was get outside, vlog, and document more. How did I do on this goal? I didn't vlog that much in 2019, but I did film a lot more party videos, and I like to do more of that in 2020. But I want to keep the gear smaller and simpler because carrying 3-4 cameras to a party, it's a pain in the butt. So definitely going to continue to record more party videos. I may do a vlog here and there, but the appeal that had for me maybe like 2-3 years ago where, Casey Neistat was a big influence and I wanted to do something similar. And I did a few vlogs. Those never got a lot of views, but like I said, this whole project is just more of a fun thing at this point as opposed to a thing where I think I'm going to get rich and famous. I didn't vlog too much, shot more party videos, and I want to continue doing that in 2020, but with smaller, simpler gear, and maybe just use the phone a lot more often, because I would buy all these cameras and then just don't use these cameras that often. But I think it's still good to keep them. There was a point in time in previous years where I was buying and selling the same thing like several times, like a crazy person. I would buy the same camera 3 times, sell it 3 times. Then I bought it the 4th time. I'm going to just keep it. Maybe I'm coming back to that again because, like I said, there's a lot of equipment that's sitting there. I'm not using it, but I'm not selling it immediately this time. I'm going to just really let it sit there maybe until the end of this year of 2020 and see if I really am not using this stuff, then get rid of it, right? That was goal number 8, was to get outside and vlog and document more. Goal number 7 was fast more often over 24 hours. And I did that a bunch in 2019. And why do I fast? I just really feel it keeps me slim and I want to stay slim. Also, I just feel like we should give the body time to do its thing. Like if you're always feeding all this information, all this food and everything, like when is it time to actually sit still, or not sit still, but just let it do its job in terms of, we're talking more about food here and giving the body time for it to go ahead and, digest this food as opposed to just feeding it, and it's still working on food that you ate 2-3 hours ago. So I only eat once a day. I eat a big meal once a day, and I fast. I don't fast for 24 hours that often. Most days it's like 20 hours. I think there's a good health benefit to it. I feel good. I stay slim, and I give the body time to do its thing. The one thing that I wasn't doing very often was I wasn't drinking enough water. Doctors always would tell me this when I would get blood tests, like I'm dehydrated, you're dehydrated. And I was like, oh, no big deal. But then there's a YouTuber that I enjoy watching. Her name is The Fruit Doctor. And she's more of a raw food, raw vegan advocate. And she was documenting, or she was talking about in one of her recent videos, like maybe like a month or 2 ago, about this long-term raw foodist, this vegan, who passed away at 75. And it was largely due because of dry fasting. That's what folks were told, that he just wasn't drinking enough water. He lived in a hot environment. This is like secondhand information. He lived in a hot environment and he would sweat a lot. He would say that he would get most of his water from the fruits and things that he ate. Supposedly, like the family said publicly, it was because of a lack of drinking water. I just try to include more drinking of water throughout the day and not dry fast like I was doing before. This is one of the things I actually want to continue, but there's going to be a whole other podcast in terms of the continuing habits for 2020. So that was number 7. Number 7 was fast more often over 24 hours, and I was successful in that. I would say number 8, which was get outside and vlog and document more. I wasn't as successful because I didn't vlog much, but I did shoot a lot of party videos. So kind of half success in that one. Number 7 was a success. I met that goal. Goal number 6 was continue saving cash and investing in stocks, 7% of your weekly pay or less. And I was very good with this. This was another goal where I even went a step further, and I'll explain that in a moment. Maybe about a couple of years ago, there was a temporary coworker, who showed me how easy it was to buy stocks. I had kind of secondhand interest over the years in buying stocks. I've always just looked for other ways to try to make money other than just having the job. This temp coworker that came to work at my current job, I think it was like the end of 2017 or the end of, no, it wasn't. It was possibly the end of 2018, where he just showed me how easy it was through a TD Ameritrade account to go ahead and buy stocks. And I started to buy stocks, and currently it's up to like about $1,300. And it's just because I just put in $20 a week, and I may buy some like inexpensive stocks, or I'll save that $20 to buy a more expensive stock. So I've been doing that, and it's just thinking about retirement later. Of course, the stock market is like a casino, so that money can go up or down. 2019 was a year where the stocks, they went up often, so definitely gained in value. But other ways that I'm trying to go ahead and increase my money for later, because I definitely don't know or don't think that Social Security and my pension will afford me the lifestyle that I have right now. So I'm hoping, even with this podcast, that I'm building skills that I can use later, that I can earn money doing different things from skills that I've learned here, or like saving this money, like using the stock market. And I've also been buying silver again. There was a period of time when I was very heavy into listening to InfoWars, and they would really push like buying silver coins. And I was like, yeah, I bought a bunch of silver, but then I ended up selling it when I stopped listening so much to InfoWars. And why I stopped listening to InfoWars, I just didn't want a constant barrage of bad news and to be on edge about the world, right? I think the world is a good place, and I think there's a lot of good in the world. Started buying stocks, started buying silver in 2019, and in maybe like the second half of 2019, I also started to save a part of my weekly paycheck, because I'm coming to a point where I don't need a lot. I have a lot of stuff that I wanted to kind of buy, and I don't need to make a lot of big purchases. I don't plan on buying a house or anything like that. So I have this small teeny bit of extra income, and I just been putting it aside. That helps, like for if I want to take a trip. This year I actually got folks Christmas gifts, which I hadn't done that for years. That was nice. So I was successful in this particular goal, which once again was continue saving cash and investing in stocks, 7% of your weekly pay or less. And this was inspired by a book, which is not coming to me now, but this is inspired by a book that I read. And like, you could just save a teeny bit of your money every week, and it could become something later. This was goal number 5, and this goal, I actually crossed it out because I was very back and forth about this for the last 2-3 years. The goal was publish a journal, 10,000 words. I crossed that goal out. I'm looking at the piece of paper now as I'm doing this podcast. I crossed that goal out. I was back and forth about, should I spend all this time, energy into writing a book? Like, I'm going to write it, nobody's going to read it. The goal is, like I said, this is just another way that I'm looking to make money, is to maybe publish a bunch of books on the content from this podcast and have another way to make money. And I did actually publish a book in 2019. I haven't promoted it yet because I've already finished the Audible version, the audiobook version. I'm just waiting for them to approve it, and then once they approve it, I'll have the paperback, the audiobook version, and I'll have the Kindle version all available in the Amazon store. But I'm just waiting for that approval to come back, and that's come over into 2020, so it hasn't come back yet, but once it comes back, I will be promoting it. It's a book on my movie reviews and a collection of them, and it's only 8,000 words, but like I said, I'm just trying to learn the skills and get into the habit of publishing a book every year. I was actually semi-successful in this goal, which is, I didn't publish a journal, but I did publish a book finally. I'm glad that I made that happen. I was so back and forth about it for years and years, and should I do it, should I not do it, why am I doing this? But it's time to go ahead and find another way to get this podcast out there. Goal number 4 was to travel to 2 places, in Arizona, definitely, Arizona being where Mom lives, and to go visit mom. I hadn't visited mom in a few years, but I actually got to travel to 3 places. I actually went to Jamaica, I went to Arizona to visit mom, and then I went to Georgia to go visit my friend. So I actually surpassed this goal. So I'm very happy about that. And I always want to travel more. Every year when I start these goals, I want to travel more. I want to travel more. What I've been doing lately with recent trips is wrapping my brain around and actually just doing it is just going for a day. Like, especially if it's on the East Coast and it's like the flight's less than 4 hours. Go early in the morning, and come back late at night, and then just enjoy whatever you're gonna go do over there, or even just go for a day and go to an Airbnb and it has a washer and a dryer. Take the same clothes that I had on, and just wash those and put those right back on, and then just go the next day. So I'm just trying to make shorter trips so I can just kind of go back and forth. Why don't I take long trips? I don't like to take super long trips. I'd rather take a bunch of short trips than take long trips. That's just me. So I was successful in that goal. Traveled to 2 places, Arizona definitely. Traveled to 3 places in 2019. I like that. Now we're getting to the final 3 goals. Goal number 3 was continue seeing sex workers safely and be open to dating. I was open to dating. I had an OkCupid account and I reached out to a bunch of folks. Nothing ever really came of it. Maybe some small communication. I definitely saw a lot of sex workers 2019 and not always safely. I'll be honest. I went ahead and I finally did get on PrEP. This is like a drug that helps you kind of to avoid getting AIDS. That's the big fear. This is a bad habit, and I'm going to talk about bad habits in terms of like not being 100% safe all the time when seeing sex workers. But I was open to dating, and honestly, at this point, going into 2020, I really just don't care to date, honestly. Like, I'm not completely closing the door, but in terms of signing up for apps and spending money to try to get someone's attention, it's so much work, and it's not something that I'm going to go ahead and partake in, really. But like I said, if someone likes me and they come to me and I like them, then I'll be open to that, but not something that I'm going to go ahead and pursue. Continue seeing sex workers safely and be open to dating. I was half successful. I did continue seeing sex workers, not always safely, and I was open to dating, but nothing ever came of it. Goal number 2 was to continue therapy. As I've said before on this podcast, therapy and journaling has really helped me to kind of unravel why I do what I do, has helped to unravel past behaviors from childhood, like trauma, that's continued with me to this day. And I'll be honest, there were points in this year near the end of 2019 that I was really thinking, like, am I getting anything from this therapy? Because I just felt like my own reading and my own journaling, I was finding out more about myself. And that's gonna be a big thing going into the next year. But I was finding out more about myself than I was getting through therapy. Therapy, like I said, it's been fantastic. But there was a point in time, more than once, where I felt like, should I even continue this? But the great thing about therapy as well is it gives me somebody to talk to. I am by myself. There, I of course have family and friends, but someone that's not attached that I can just tell anything to. And this is what therapy is good for me for. Like, just to have someone on a weekly basis, more often than not, to go ahead and say everything that's on my chest, that's in my heart. And I think it's good to get that stuff out. Therapy, I definitely continued therapy, and I didn't quit in therapy. And the number 1 goal was to work on your bad habits. My bad habits are watching porn and masturbation. That's just, I think it's beyond the bad habit. I think it's really like an addiction. It's also overeating. I'm not always very successful. Like I told you, I have that one meal during the whole day, but then I sometimes feel like I overeat. I think I overeat to the point where my back starts hurting, but because my stomach is so full. Maybe that's totally wrong. But and the other bad habit is like I just sometimes watch way too much TV when I could just be creating. I could be doing something cool. Those are my bad habits, and I wasn't successful on this. Maybe it's like a half and half, because the fact that I'm acknowledging them, and then I'll take steps to not like do them, but then I end up always falling back into them. I would say I'm half and half successful in it. The focus on the actual bad habits, identifying them, positive. The continuing to do them, negative. That was actually my number 1 goal for 2019, was to work on your bad habits. So just to recap, number 1, work on your bad habits. I did definitely work on them, but I wasn't always successful in not doing them. So my bad habits are, like I said, seeing sex workers not always safely, overeating, watching too much TV, porn and masturbation, which, like I said, I think is an addiction. And the other one was eating bad foods. Eating bad foods, I meaning like eating any animal products or anything that has oil in it. My diet, I try to consisted of it being gluten-free, oil-free, and vegan for the most part. Yeah, I just, the saturated fats, the oils, the animal products. I heard somebody else say this, and I really feel it's true for me. Like, everybody says, oh yeah, in moderation, or just have it once a week. But that stuff accumulates. And also, my personality is that if I have something one time in a week, then I'll just like, you know what, 3-4 days later, let me have it again. And 2 days later, let me have it again. And then I end up in 1 week, that one cheat meal becomes 3 days of cheat meals. I have a personality that kind of does that. Okay, now to recap, work on your bad habits. I great in identifying them, but bad in actually executing, not working on them. Because willpower, like I said, I'm still just looking for a method to really fix that, because willpower doesn't always work. Number 2 was continue therapy. Successful there. Definitely continue therapy. Number 3, continue seeing sex workers safely, be open to dating. Semi-successful here. I did continue seeing sex workers, and I'm happy about that. I was open to dating, happy about that. I did not see sex workers always safely. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Goal number 4 for 2019 was travel to 2 places. Arizona, definitely. I superseded that goal, and I traveled to 3 places. Goal number 5, publish a journal, 10,000 words. I did not succeed in that goal, but I did publish an 8,000 word book. Goal number 6, continue saving cash and investing in stocks, 7% of your weekly pay or less. And I was successful in this goal, and I superseded it by including buying silver and also saving money every week. Goal number 7, fast more often over 24 hours. I did that a few times in 2019, and I did that successfully, thank goodness. And my regular fasting is up to 24 hours, so that was good. And finally, get outside and vlog and document more. I didn't vlog as much, but I definitely got outside and shot more party videos, another form of documenting. I'm kind of halfway successful in that. So I was half successful in my goals for 2019. I would say more than half. I would definitely say more than half successful. In upcoming podcasts, I'm going to be talking about some other kind of recaps of 2019. I think January is a better month to do it because there's stuff that happens all the way to the very end of December to recap. So other 2019 recaps, like I said, January is going to be the month of this. There's going to be a best of in terms of movies and TV shows watched. There's going to be lessons learned from 2019. There's also going to be the 2020 goals. What are the goals for the new year? And in the show notes for these episodes, I'm going to go ahead and link to my previous, like this particular episode, I'm going to link to last year, my 2018 goals. How did I do for those goals? And that's going to be the end of this podcast. Please support the podcast by doing any or all of your eBay or Amazon shopping by using the links in the show notes. That gives a little kickback to the podcast because the podcast is not free. It does cost me money to put this together, but if I get some little dollars, it'll help, to support this podcast. There's a bunch of other ways you can contact me if you have any thoughts, questions. I do want to hear about your 2019 goals. That's once again all in the magical unicorn-like show notes. And that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. You're awesome. I wish you much success in your 2020 goals. My name is Paul V. Perez, and I am out.